Welcome back to the Community Collective Podcast. I'm joined by my man Travis Howell again today.
Yes. Oh,
I mean, and we're recording consecutive days. Even though the podcast is every couple of weeks, being able to record consecutive days. You're looking good, my man.
Oh, you're looking good too.
Oh, I mean, showered this morning like a normal, responsible adult.
The hair was laying perfect. Everything.
Oh, the hair takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
As you get old and gray, it gets a little bit more difficult to finesse. So got some product in there, but such is life, right?
My kids point out my gray hairs that are popping up. And I say, I didn't have these before we had you.
Well, I can promise you this much. I'd rather be gray than balding, so I'll take what I can get.
I have a
at this
thinning
point.
spot in the back, and the other day my son said, man, Mom, my hair just grows nonstop. She goes, you're just like your dad. He goes, no, I have a lot more hair than that guy. I was like, thanks, buddy. You're now my second favorite.
Yeah, second favorite. Leave it to the kids to just call us on all our BS.
They really
right
are.
Off the rip.
I know.
Yep.
Well, get a 14-year-old. Then you learn some real honesty.
I have a 14-year-old.
Oh, you do? That's right.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
They're actually two 8-year-olds.
Yeah, they're 8-year-olds, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
You wait till they're actually the age of 14. Then you'll learn even more about yourself.
I'm going to go join a monastery, heading somewhere into the mountains.
In the mountains, disappear. Yeah, I like it.
So I'm excited today.
Yes.
We have my good friend, and this is somebody I've known for the better part of
you've
probably 25 years.
At least,
give or take, so a good friend from Lapeer, Patrick Hingst, the owner, operator, the mad genius behind such great restaurants as Lightning Rounds, Woodchips, Cookies and Cream. So all sorts of good stuff that we're going to talk about
that
today.
Has filled my stomach with deliciousness.
I know. I love it. Give me all the meats.
Well, and I've gotten to know him a little bit more too, from one going to the restaurants, but then he was also one of our speakers at the Chamber's first men's leadership lunch.
Yeah.
And kicked it out of the park. I loved it. The crowd loved it. Our group wants more of that. And for the first one, it was great. So Patrick, you did an amazing job. So I'm excited to learn more about you today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and I think you were on the podcast, I want to say fairly early on, because we did it via Zoom, right?
Oh, we did.
Yeah. Like
So
at least a year ago.
At least a year ago. So there's been a lot of changes, a lot of updates, a lot of things that you guys have been involved in that I'm excited to get into today. But before we do that, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I mean, pretty awesome. It's Friday. It's like, 60 plus degrees supposed to be later on. And my Spartans start their championship run at noon today. So, some day drinking might be in order. We'll see how it goes.
I am stoked for that. God, I love March Madness. I live for it.
Yes. I'm a Kentucky Wildcat fan.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Disappointing.
Can you argue with, was it, I think, 8 national championships?
I mean,
when you guys get there, let me know.
The Izzo way, not the Calipari way. But I mean, hey, whatever makes you happy.
We have a new coach, but it is. Oh,
I think what I love the most, so I'm largely a U of M fan.
Yep.
But when it comes to March Madness, there's nothing like Izzo in March.
That man turns it on and just...
He is a grand master when it comes to March Madness, and I love it.
I would
every
say
year.
He and Coach K are the two that I think were always so consistent, and it's amazing for the longevity of Izzo's career.
Mm-hmm.
Just the results. I'm a Michigan fan, but when it comes to basketball, I don't know what he does. He just snaps his fingers and bam.
I don't care.
Magic every time, right?
I enjoy the hell out of it.
I love it.
I enjoy the hell out of it.
Upsets.
It's exciting times. Anybody can do anything. It's my favorite thing in the world of sports. I mean, I know that people get really hyped about football, but come on, there's a lot of hype for just a little bit of action. Like in basketball, you can flip the channel and there's crazy storylines everywhere, and there's kids crying as their career's ending, some trying to make it to the pros.
I know.
Heartbreak and triumph and everything, all in just a few short hours.
Well, the Cinderella stories really make it too. I love.
And I have the YouTube TV. Is what I use to watch all of our live television, so I can get the quad box where I can get 4 games all at once. I'm now we're talking.
So get this. At home. So I grew up in Kentucky originally, so basketball is everything down there.
Right.
Well, we had one of the kids from our high school went to play for Kentucky. Well, it happened to be that year too. Our high school installed a big screen TV in our cafeteria where we could watch basketball and watch him play. I was like, this is the best. Why doesn't every high school do something like that, right?
I remember March in high school. We had a couple of teachers that were like, "We're gonna roll in the old
TV,
roll in the media cart."
Yeah,
and we were watching games on CBS. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!
This is amazing!"
Old 100-pound, 27-inch strap to that top-heavy little cart.
Exactly.
You hit the threshold, and the thing goes whoop.
I know.
Well, there goes little Timmy. We just smoked him.
We didn't get to physics yet. That was later. So.
Yeah. You gotta have the straps over everything, and it is. Oh.
All right. Well, let's jump right into it. You ready?
Let's alley-oop.
I mean, we got to get it done so we can get into basketball mode. So that's the key. And I appreciate the green glasses as well. St. Patty's Day, a little MSU.
That's
already.
I got green socks on too. We're ready to roll. All coordinated.
Perfect.
Well, I don't have the green socks, but that's another story for another day.
We each have our own brands, I guess.
Yes.
True story.
Yes.
All right. So we can look at a lot of the restaurants, but Woodchips BBQ has become such a beloved spot in Lapeer. Known for the custom menus, your ability to innovate, your ability to do new things, and not be afraid to take on certain aspects of the food industry. How did your journey in the restaurant industry begin, and why is that such a near and dear part of what it is that you do inside of the business? Because a lot of restaurants, you go into Applebee's, it's the same stuff. You go to fast food, there's not a whole lot of innovation, but you guys, you're always doing different things with the items that you have or bringing on new menu items.
Well, I mean, my journey started when I was 16 at McDonald's, which is not where most fun culinary journeys begin, but it introduced me to the industry. I didn't work there because I necessarily wanted to be in restaurants. It was just hit 16, wanted to have a car, needed to get a job that paid something.
Mm-hmm.
But it taught me a lot about moving fast. It taught me a lot about, honestly, how to not treat your workers and how to make, not the freshest of food, but to do it quickly and to have fun while doing it.
Understanding processes.
Exactly. Yes. If there's one thing McDonald's knows, it is the processes inside and out.
Yep.
Ended up going to Michigan State with the thought of I was going to be a lawyer my whole life.
Oh, wow.
Bounced around prerequisite classes that cost a lot of money, were really boring, and kind of disillusioned me from the whole process. Ended up in the wilderness after 3 years of school where I was completely lost, didn't know what to do. The degree I was working towards didn't have any interest anymore for me. Mm-hmm. And luckily I had a buddy who I was in a fraternity, and he sat down with me and he just started asking me questions. And in this process, nobody had ever asked me what I was actually passionate about. What did I like? It had always been, do the report in high school. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to make money. And then I'll be you got to pick something for the next year. I'm like, well, I'll be a judge. I'll make even more money.
Right.
Yeah.
But they never asked me about, why did I want to do this? Why was I passionate about it? And so he got me thinking about what was my why, what got me excited in life. And I realized at the time that my favorite jobs were my restaurant jobs. And he had been, he was about to graduate with a degree in hospitality business, which Michigan State has one of the best schools in the world for it. Yes. And he's like, look, if you're really interested in this, we have the best teachers in the world. Everything you learn is real world applicable, not these useless classes you're never going to use.
Right.
Sure.
He's like, and you can get a job almost anywhere. So I sat there on the couch, I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, I can change majors, graduate within 2 years, work my way up to GM of a regional chain, and then open my own gourmet sandwich shop.
Okay.
And so that taught me manifesting, because I was able over the next less than decade to do all those things. And it gave me the blueprint for how to create a future and to teach other people how to create their future.
Right.
Start with the vision, have it based around a why and a passion, and then work towards it every day. And it doesn't mean that it's always going to be a direct route, but as you take those steps towards it, you might find out in the end that even what you think is your main goal isn't your goal.
Sure.
But walking the journey, starting, getting yourself in the arena of life, that's the important part that's going to lead you to where you need to go.
Well, and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Not being afraid to.
Yeah.
It's easy to stay on the sidelines and make fun of everybody that's down in the arena actually playing.
Right.
It's a lot harder to be down there and take those barbs. But at the end of the day, realize that only you have the ability to give these people power on the sidelines. They're just there because they're afraid.
Well, and we had talked to Ken Elliott from Hilton Screeners, owns a local screen printing company here, and they've been around 40 some odd years in the community. And, I really resonate with his story because there's a lot of people that like to chirp from the sidelines, and they're those quote unquote entrepreneurs. But those of us that have jumped in with both feet and really gotten into the mix, there's a lot to be said for that. And there's nothing like that real world experience, both on the good side and the bad side.
Well, you're going to learn from everything, I feel like. I mean, you're not going to succeed at everything. You're going to fail at something, and it's just going to make you stronger and better. I think Kent's a great example. He goes, hey, we started off with just a few little things, and we learned as we went. And I'm sure you kind of have that story too, it sounds like.
Yeah, my main philosophy is always get better, AGB.
Yeah.
And it's basically founded in the scientific method, which is you start with your best hypothesis, you test it, get more data, and then you do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like experienced entrepreneurs go in with an idea, knowing that this idea is going to fail, and I'm going to adjust it, I'm going to make it work.
Right.
The unexperienced entrepreneur goes in with the idea like, oh, this is going to work. I'm going to do everything I can to make it work.
Right.
And you have to actually learn to set aside that ego because it will trip you up to make you adaptable to find the success that will eventually come.
Right. And the agility is so important. Being able to really, again, take ego out of it and say, oh, that didn't work. Well, I thought it was a great idea, but whether our client base, whether our workers, whatever that was, it didn't really work out the way we intended. So let's be a little nimble and move and jockey to a different position.
Right.
Exactly. So with that, I ended up opening my first sandwich shop, Witches in Oxford back in 2009, with the goal of trying to turn that into a chain. But that eventually led me to the opportunity to come back to Lapeer, which is a town my family moved me to when I was about 11 years old. Was not excited to go there. I was a city boy.
Right.
Couldn't ride my bike to my friend's house or school. It was just a complete culture shock for me. And I went through a stage of depression while I was there.
Sure.
And but I really had an affinity for the downtown. It seemed like a really cool place. They used to host the Gus Macker there, Lapeer days, the old Pix Theater scene and second run movies there. It just had a lot of charm about it. So I always really kind of liked it. So when the opportunity came after being an experienced restaurant owner at this point, we'd started dabbling and doing pulled pork and brisket just on a little mini smoker out back, and we had people coming in saying, oh wow, this barbecue is really amazing.
Well, you get all the smells downtown too. That probably drew them in. I'm sure, right?
That's part of the whole the deal with it. It's a total experience. But we were up in Lapeer playing or just chilling at a place called the Bruzo's Piano Bar, drinking some beers, me and my best friend Jay, and the owner comes up to us. We were just talking about, I would consider maybe doing a barbecue restaurant on Lapeer. I think I could fly. And in that moment, he comes up and he goes, hey, do you guys want to buy my restaurant? I hear you own restaurants.
Oh.
And so we're like,
wow.
Go on.
Okay.
So I had some negotiations. The idea was there. There were lots of challenges. City wasn't going to let us put a smoker back there initially. But being an entrepreneur, I'm like, everything's just a challenge that you got to get past. It's not a roadblock unless you choose to make it a roadblock.
Right.
And so we figured things out. And the whole goal was to bring something new to Lapeer, because Lapeer has some solid restaurants, but it's a lot of, American restaurants and a lot of diners. And a lot of them have very similar menus.
Right.
And, I didn't want to come with something super hipster that was going to make people feel like we're too pretentious.
Right.
But I'm like,
this isn't Royal Oak.
But I'm like, we can bring traditional barbecue here.
Yeah.
At the time, when we opened, you say barbecue, people thought barbecue meant hot dogs and burgers on the grill.
Right.
But this is real low and slow American traditional style. It's like one of the only truly American cuisines that we have that rose out of the deep South. And I knew there would be a passion for it if we could present it in the right way. So my goal was always to take things that were, maybe cutting edge 10 to 15 years ago in the big cities, bring them to Lapeer for them to be able to have it in an approachable way and get them excited about it.
Yeah.
And so we continue that today, even with our new menu. We always have to look to kind of push and innovate without going too far off the deep end to scare people, but to get them excited about things maybe they've heard about, but they've never had the opportunity to experience before.
Well, and I like there's always a change. I would say my favorite thing is the egg rolls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I could eat anything that's at Woodchips, but getting an egg roll that has either barbecue or something in it. And
well, my favorite restaurant, my birthday dinner was always going out for Chinese food.
Okay.
So we didn't get like going out to eat growing up was, you got McDonald sometimes and you'd have pizza on Fridays.
Right.
We did not go out to a lot of restaurants, but on my birthday, you got to pick, and I would always go out for Chinese. And I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, one day I'm going to become a successful lawyer and I'm opening up my own pizza and Chinese restaurant. She's like, you're going to serve both? I'm like,
serve both, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to figure it out. And we did have a sweet and sour chicken pizza on my original sandwich shop menu when we were doing that there.
Awesome.
But I think bringing the egg rolls.
Dream realized.
Yes.
Yeah. And bringing the egg rolls to the masses. I mean, we serve literally thousands a week. I think that's, just a chubby little 12-year-old with a vision. And it can come to reality.
I love it. So thinking about the different things that you do, especially related to food, you have a place in Lapeer, which you're really focusing on downtown Lapeer, which I love the atmosphere that's being created, but it's cookies and cream. So it's a unique twist of what traditional desserts combining cookies and ice cream in innovative ways. Can you share the story behind how that creation came up and how you guys are always kind of changing what's going on there? And I follow it on social media.
Sure.
So I'm very fascinated to see how you guys are so creative and kind of the background.
I love seeing you guys blow up on TikTok.
Oh, yes.
When Jessica was doing the videos and you guys were shipping out cookies, especially during COVID. That was awesome. I loved watching that in real time.
Well, that's what saved us. We were a baby that was born just a few months before COVID hit, and could have easily taken us out. But it has proved to be one of the most dynamic and adaptable businesses we created. It's also the only one that sells in all 50 states. We ship everywhere.
Really?
We ship from North Pole, Alaska to Honolulu, Hawaii, and everywhere in between.
Awesome.
I love it.
The idea came from when I opened Woodchips at first, it was a pretty small restaurant. I don't know if you guys went there in the early days before we expanded, but, had about 15 tables really cramped in there. We had some desserts on the menu. My mom used to work for me full-time, part-time, and was an amazing pastry chef, just self-taught. But the problem was on the weekends, you needed to flip tables. And when you serve somebody, a $6 piece of carrot cake, but then they're taking up a table for an extra half hour hanging out, doesn't make the most economic sense. It frustrates people that are waiting there.
Right.
So I had been an investor in the first year we opened. Woodchips did, I thought really well, but it turns out that was just the busy season. And took some money that we made, invested in a local couple that had been selling some baked goods at a farmer's market, and they wanted to have a brick and mortar downtown, Alma Hill Breads. And I was all about the downtown at that point. I wanted it to come back, thrive, survive. And so we invested in them to help them get going. Realities of running a bakery are, it sucks.
I'm sure. I can only imagine.
It's really hard, especially when you're selling bread and cookies. People oftentimes don't put the value on it, oftentimes because you can go to the big box store, the Costco, the Meijer, whatever, and they're like, well, I can get 50 cookies for a jig or a loaf of bread for $2.
Right.
But in the world of handmade
and so much better tasting.
Yes. So it started off, they ended up going out of business, and I kind of owned the equipment. So I worked out a deal with the guy who owned the building to take over the space with the idea of just putting an ice cream and cookie shop so that people would finish eating, get them across the street,
there it is.
butts in the seats, but still let them have a downtown experience and continue to spend money with our businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
At the time, my now partner, Jessica, I had started working with her. She came on to handle my social media as we had grown to 3 different locations. And I told her about my idea, and then she goes, oh my God, this is crazy. I've had this idea for over 10 years to do this thing called 50-50, 50% cookie, 50% ice cream. Everybody told me I should bring the idea to you, but I'm like, no, Pat's way too busy. He's not going to be able to do this. And so from there, I'm like, well, this is hey, chocolate, peanut butter, what's up?
Right.
Yeah.
So brought it all together, and that's where Cookies and Cream was born. And so the idea is to take classic desserts and to kookify them, or classic cookies, and just make them more modern, more fun, more exciting. But then with each cookie to have a corresponding cookie cream flavor, which is 50% Michigan-made ice cream blended with 50% cookie. So it's chewable. It's more than just like regular cookies and cream ice cream. It's a whole different dessert experience. So one, it lets us be a no-waste bakery, which is one of the reasons we've been able to survive in such a really hard industry. And two, it's created this innovative product that when people... It's like with my brisket, like my favorite thing in the world when people eat my food and they just can't help but smile because it hits you like here, right in those little dimples.
Really soak in,
and the cookie cream always nails people every time they taste it. So it's just a really fun experience, both to watch as well as for them to have.
I think it's amazing. So we've tried, Jessica and I have been down there, same thing. Go to Woodchips, have some amazing barbecue. I'm going to eat like 3 orders of burnt ends, assuming they're still in stock if we go late. And then from there, go over to Cookies and Cream. And it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Well, the hard part is when I go eat barbecue, I try to get, be honest, stuff myself. Deanna, you're not going to finish that? Come on, sit in my way.
Right.
But then after a while, I'm like, oh, now there's dessert across the street. Do I have room? For it? I usually make room. That's probably why I
have to make room.
That's probably why I'm a walker and not a runner anymore.
That's because you do a power walk of the downtown.
Yeah, that's what I got to do. Power walk it.
Get excited for it, so your metabolism rises, and at the end, you
don't
feel
like
like negative.
Think.
Yeah, it's look, everything blessed as you put it in your body.
Yeah,
absolutely. So now that we're talking about Cookies and Cream, let's talk about your smash hit cookie that's going on right now. It's what's it called? The Dubai something or other?
The Dubai chocolate bar cookie.
Yes, I've been watching this on social media.
Talk to me about it, because I've seen other people start to do it, but you guys were obviously the first ones that I saw
in this area
really doing it locally. So give us the rundown on that one, because it seems extremely popular.
Yeah, so my partner, again, social media director, she's always monitoring the different trends on TikTok, and this thing blew up, just called the Dubai chocolate bar, which is like this, it's from whether Abu Dhabi or whatever, this chocolate bar that is stuffed with a blend of like pistachio cream, some tahini, which gives it almost a peanut buttery flavor, and then really thinly sliced toasted phyllo dough or phyllo dough.
Okay.
I screwed that one up. So it's got a crazy texture on it, and we took and we kookified it. So we turned it into a chocolate cookie that's got the stuffing on the inside, then we dip it almost in like a candy bar shell.
Oh,
and it's just a
wow.
flavor, textural sensation. She put it out there, and it blew up online, blew up in the store during what should be normally our slowest month, February. We ended up having like one of our busiest months ever.
Wow.
It's continued to carry through, and it's been really cool and exciting. It lets us
I feel like
grow our
social
team.
Media, it was people like, oh, I grabbed this. I could only get this many, but I'm going to be back more. So it is. I mean, obviously she had a good plan and moved forward with that. And
that was all her. I give her 100% credit.
I sound like I need to go try one of these now.
I think my most enjoyable part about reading that was some of the not safe for work reviews. They were absolutely hilarious. I was dying.
We have some cunning linguists out there for
yes,
sure.
Yes. The linguistic gymnastics that were used with some of those reviews, I'm like, dude, this is hilarious.
But hey, all attention's good attention, I guess. Because we continued to sell out for basically a month straight, and we brought in more team. And our team's amazing. Like, again, we come up with the ideas, but I'm not a baker. I sometimes dabble in bread. I only invented a couple of our cookies, but for the most part, we have these amazing team, these ladies that are just so creative and able to pound out our ideas and turn them into reality.
That's awesome.
And so
is.
now we've expanded it. There's the whole Dubai trio. We have a strawberry flavored one as well as a pistachio cookie one.
Okay.
And I actually think they're even better than the first, which was already the best cookie I'd ever had.
I like that too, that you're involving your team in the process and ideas, and you're willing to say, I'm not the most creative on that side of things. Let's see what you guys can come up with, and it works. And I think that's what makes you all so successful and growing, is that your team's involved.
Oh, that's 100% has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I have over 70 employees, and we've just brought in the past several months new chefs to both locations, and it's really fun for the first time to be able to outsource the creative element and even collaborate with others who have a different flavor profile, experiences, perspective, skill set than I have.
Yeah.
So it just gives us more diverse options. And at the end of the day, I want my team to buy into what we're doing. So it's less about me and my ideas now. I create the master vision, but they help build it every single day. They're the ones fueling the fire and keeping it going.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, and from a management perspective, it's always easy to be like, I'm the owner, I'm the operator, it's my way or the highway. And you're the complete 180-degree
opposite
perspective there, where it's like, let's collaborate. If you have an idea to implement, I can't think about everything all the time. Give me these great ideas. Give me these suggestions. If there's something you think makes more sense to do, let's talk about it.
Yeah, my goal is to help people turn into the best versions of themselves and give them these chances of empowerment to find out what they can actually do and create.
Right.
And I always viewed as, before I went to work for myself, my jobs were just the dry run. It was playing with house money.
Right.
I'm here to figure things out without risking, the kids and the mortgage. And so I want to give them the same opportunity and encouragement, not just to the level I receive, but even beyond that.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, my goal is to make a positive impact in the world in any way that I can.
Yeah.
And I find the best way to do that is to empower and inspire others to become their own superheroes and see that they can achieve anything that they can dream of.
Right.
And it's sort of reverse. Most of us, as we get older, we we lose the dream of becoming Spider-Man or whatever we thought of when we were younger.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas I think it should be the opposite. The more that we learn this life and the game and the way that it's played, the more we should be empowered to understand the things that we can actually do in it, and teach others about it, that the only limits that really exist are the ones we place on ourselves.
I love that.
I love it.
I love that. That's inspiring.
Oh,
it's inspiring. That's going to be a good short that I'll put on YouTube. I like that one.
I like that.
Flip it up.
It is.
All right. So as we move into the next question, we're going to talk about another one of your establishments. So let me just read the question here and then we'll jump into it. Lightning Rounds is described as Lapeer's largest local hangout, featuring fresh food and a variety of events. What was your vision for this establishment, and how do you see it contributing to the local community?
So the one criticism that I always hear about Lapeer, I'd see it posted all the time, is there's nothing to do in Lapeer. Right. And so I'm like, I want there to be an answer.
And somebody that grew up there from the age of 0,
you grew up,
until 18 when I moved away, and again, I didn't move very far. I moved,
down the block,
16 miles down the road, but I still consider myself now a Davison resident. But yes, 100% accurate.
I mean, hey, we both used to work at Meijer and we both used to hang out at Meijer. So, I mean, that kind of summarizes the whole Lapeer experience for you.
That's why we would drive down to Great Lakes Crossing when we'd skip school.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh.
But so I wanted to bring a venue that wasn't just live music, but had all forms of entertainment, that had an approachable, higher end like kind of roadhouse sports bar feel, where you'd be able to get food that seemed familiar but was just elevated with fresher ingredients, scratch made everything, and then also just created as a platform where, because just like I've talked about with my businesses, it's not just all about me. I want it to be a platform for the community, for the nonprofits, for the youth groups to come in and help us create, to put on different events, to hold fundraisers, to use this whole platform to its maximum creative potential to give the community something really unique.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. Well, and we did early. I don't know if it was the soft opening per se, but we were there the first week or so, and I think it actually was a soft opening because we got an invite. So me and you showed up, and I think I pounded like damn near 20 wings.
Oh,
and they're amazing.
And I got sliders.
Yeah,
the slider selection, I love it. I get a couple different ones. Oh,
well, and what was the name of the venue before you guys purchased it?
So it was a Pizza Depot / Sidetracks.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And then even before that, what was it?
Michael's Roadhouse, about 15 years ago.
Wow.
Which had, a reputation as a little bit of a shit kicker bar. Sorry if I don't know if you have the censors going here.
Right?
No, you're good.
But yeah, so Sidetracks did a great job of adding to it, bringing in the live entertainment venue, but they really weren't passionate restaurant people. They weren't foodies.
Right.
And so I wanted to bring that element to it, where it could be a hangout, but also be a Friday, Saturday night date place where you can show off the town with some good food.
Right.
Right. I love it.
No, absolutely.
What is it called? With is it Thunderdome?
Yeah.
Thunderdome.
Oh,
yes. That's how we branded our back private room, which we have available for rent for private parties, but we have different shows, concerts. We have I think it's sold out, or there's just a couple tickets left for our comedy show tomorrow. Yeah. We just announced we're bringing in Tantric, if you remember the band.
Oh, wow.
About 15, 20 years ago, had some #1 hits. And then we have the whole backyard as well, which is a whole other element.
Yeah,
outdoor stage, the biggest patio in Lapeer, tons of space for outdoor leisure games. We do bocce ball, bowling, cornhole, axe throwing. So again,
something for everyone. Plus eating food.
Yes,
this is great.
We do line dancing lessons. We've got a leather embroidery class coming up. We've got a twist painting with a twist style thing.
Oh, wow.
So just huge variety of tons of different things going on, so that no matter what age you are, what you're into, there's gonna be something to do.
So let me ask you this. I mean, and obviously you kind of hit on it a little bit with the comedy show and the number of tickets that are left. Is the community embracing your vision for what you want lightning rounds to be? Because you have a vision, but if the community doesn't buy into it, what good does it do you?
Slowly but surely. Like I said, the whole first year was basically test runs. We came out with our best guess. Initially, we wanted to try to appeal to a younger demographic and take some hipster ideas from the city of doing smaller plates, individual egg rolls, tacos, smaller orders of wings, the sliders.
Right.
And we learned, one, there really isn't a large younger demographic in the area, or that at least has money to come out.
Yep.
And two, the logistics of pumping out, 40 items on a 10 top is really challenging.
Sure.
So we had to evolve as we went. We thought we'd be able to be a little bit more of just a music heavy venue, but we learned that the market isn't really there to support that right now.
Okay.
So we try our best runs, and then we just continue to get more data and evolve from it. So yeah, things that we've leaned into the more diverse options, because at the end of the day, look, you can go lots of different places to see music. I still love it. I wanted that to be a part of it.
Right.
But we found that the more that you can be unique and separate yourself from any quote unquote competition, the more that you're able to stand alone, have your own brand, and get people excited about it.
Okay.
And so we've seen people embracing our changes. The first year, a lot of experiments. Thanks for everybody who bared with us. If you ever came and had a less than perfect experience, know that we've learned from it. We've improved, and I'm happy to personally invite you back to see all the new things that we're doing.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to improve. We have our new chef in that's helping us work on the next menu, where we're going to add some different steaks, hand-cut steaks to the menu to be a little bit more of that date night spot.
Now you're singing my song. As somebody utilizing an elimination diet, a well-cooked steak, you can't go wrong.
You can't.
Hey, call on the carnivores. So
that's
right. Right here.
Oh,
I'm number one on the list.
So be first one in the door.
So, slowly but surely, we build up those raving fans. We get those people out in the community. The restaurant industry is brutal. First 2 years, a vast majority of independents close down, and it's even a lie that most people think independent restaurants make money. Most don't. Most of us just have jobs, and some of us are lucky enough to be able to build enough to reinvest and continue to expand. But that's where we're at right now. Is we've been able to survive the really hard periods. We're getting into where hopefully we can start thriving soon. But it's meal by meal, it's guest by guest, it's comedy show by comedy show that builds it.
Well, and I think that you're doing all these things, and you've expanded your ideas, and 3 businesses, but you do a lot of other things in the community too. So one of the things I think we were curious about too, and we're working on our questions, Your involvement with the bonfires showcases your commitment to supporting others. How does your experience in hospitality industry influence your approach to coaching, and what common challenges do you see people in business facing today?
Well, I think where I've learned that I can add the most value is doing just sit downs one-on-ones with people and discussing not just work and their performance, but life. Where are you at? What's your view in life? What's holding you back? How do we get you to a more positive mind state so that we can open up your ability to dream and to manifest and to create something larger for yourself?
Sure.
And then I get you focused on working on your bigger goals in life and tie it into how working with me will help you achieve those goals in life. And when people feel like they're on a path to greatness, they wake up excited, they come ready to go, they're willing to sacrifice and show that discipline that's necessary to find that level of success.
I love that.
So
Yes.
the bonfires just kind of takes that to the next level where we're offering like a coaching concierge service. So it's not just myself and my partner, even though we're kind of the two mains on it. I tend to handle more of the professional development, career-minded thing. She does a little bit more personal development, some spiritual stuff. But we have a whole stable of different coaches that we have from all over the country, where when you come and you do the intake with us, we learn about you, what you're looking for, and what you actually need, and then try to connect you with somebody who's going to help you find that motivational discipline to let you find success and map out your future. And nothing,
that's amazing.
That is.
Nothing's more exciting than getting somebody excited about life.
Right.
And even though we only started the bonfire just like 3 months ago, we've already had like just the letters we get back from our clients about, oh my God, you've changed my life. I'm just so happy to wake up every day. I'm excited to start doing this. And that's exciting because when we can create little franchises of ourselves out there working to make their lives better and make the world better, like this is my model, my goal.
You're
let's
creating
change the
that
world.
positivity out there too. And I mean, as we talked to Kent the other day, like good neighbor,
right?
Be a good neighbor and just be kind to people, help them out, and make things better everywhere you're going. And I think you guys are doing that with each step, whether it's in the business and improving your team and getting them involved and other roles too, which is, I love seeing that.
Yeah.
And what's going
absolutely.
on.
Well, and I think that, I'm 43 years old, right? And life's a journey. You learn about yourself,
You do.
your 20s can be a whirlwind, 30s, maybe you're starting a family. And then in your 40s, you can be a little bit more reflective. And so looking back on where you've been and the things you've accomplished and the things you still want to accomplish, having somebody, a coach per se. I mean, I'm in sales. We have coaches all the time. We're always going through coaching calls and we're trying to always hone our craft. But more so, it's not just about my craft or my career. It's about being a good person.
It is.
And it's about understanding my true potential and the way that I can do things that I can better myself, my family, my relationships, my community at large.
Right.
So I think that's amazing to hear about what you guys are doing with the bonfires.
Yeah. And I think one of the most important elements achieving that is awareness.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that we all need, but a lot of us are afraid to get.
Right.
So having that person, that partner, that coach in life who can mirror you and you're open to hearing what they have to say, because at the end of the day, our ego tells us we're awesome, we're kicking ass, we make no mistakes, but the reality of how people deal with our interactions might be completely different.
Right.
And so my goal is to always try to gain more of that awareness to make sure that what I'm attempting to put out is received as such.
Yeah.
Because, I'm only quote unquote successful because I have failed so many times previously. And I'm far from perfect even to this day. But I don't get hung up on that. I don't get caught up in a cycle of shame. And I'm lucky enough to have a partner and have worked with different coaches who have, when I've really needed it, held up that mirror and showed me where maybe I had a scar on my face and I thought I was sitting pretty. And that helps me to get to where I need to go when I can work through those things that are holding me back that I don't even know about.
Having somebody that can call you on your BS goes a really long way.
Oh, yes.
Accountability is great. Accountability is great, but sometimes you need that divested third party to come in and be like, all right,
come on.
Let's have a conversation here. Let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah, look, the best love is tough love.
Agreed.
That's the way you got to give it to them, and that's kind of what coaching is. Like, we're here to love you and support you, but we're not going to let you live in fantasy world.
It's almost like being a parent a little bit there too.
Yeah,
the tough love.
I mean, to an extent.
Oh, it is. So I think it applies at all stages of life, and it's great to see that too. I think like our podcast, you and I hold each other accountable.
Yeah,
on a lot of stuff and
absolutely.
Scheduling and questions and hey, let's work on this type of guest like that. So it's at all phases. Just as we get older, hopefully we get a little bit smarter.
Yeah, and you touch on parenting. I think a lot of issues we have right now is, most parents went through trauma on some level where they felt unloved or their mom or dad did this to them. And so they overcompensate by trying to do too much for our kids. We want to make sure they never feel pain or that they're always kind of taken care of. And it becomes like a form of helicopter parenting where the kid is never empowered to get through the challenges.
Right.
And it's like our goal should not be to make sure our kid doesn't face challenges, but it's to help them get through it and find the empowerment to know that you can get through any challenge. You don't need a man to take care. You don't need somebody to help you through it. You can do it on your own.
Right.
And I think that's a piece of the puzzle that we often miss, where parents end up stealing their kids' self-esteem by doing this thing for them and patting them on the back of, oh, I made my kid not have to feel this thing that I felt. But meanwhile, the kid is missing out on their ability to gain this self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-efficacy to be able to find success in the future. And so I think this is a big reason that we have like high rates of anxiety and depression, because kids have not been empowered. We've disempowered them because we're afraid of them facing challenges.
Sure.
When, just like I try to do with my employees, I'm not here to take away the challenges. I'm here to hold your hand through it, cheerlead you, and find out if you can get through it and what you can learn in the process.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing.
I think that's awesome.
It really is.
I think it's awesome because, again, I want my kids to understand one day I'm not always going to be here.
No.
If mom and dad are doing everything for you all the time, mom and dad are going to disappear, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh God, now what do I do? And then you have no ability for self-reliance or self-governance or whatever that is.
Someday they got to take care of us.
Maybe. Hopefully the wife sticks around long enough so that they take care of both of us.
You have 4 of them, so they can play rock, paper, scissors to see which one gets which parent, right?
Yeah, which one gets stuck with me.
Yeah.
No, I agree. One of the things, and this isn't on the list of questions, and as we near the end of the podcast, I did want to hit on something because it's so important. I've really focused on my health in the last year. Health is wealth. No matter how you look at it, health is wealth. And so I want to be here for a long time, tormenting my children and everything else. So with that, one of the things that you do with your restaurants that I do love is, like, as an example, at lightning rounds, and I'm assuming wood chips as well, like when you guys deep fry things, you're using beef tallow as opposed to seed oils and things like that. So can you talk a little bit about, like, the more whole food, healthier aspects of the way you've implemented that in your business, maybe even to your detriment for additional cost, but overall looking at the betterment for the health of your consumers, your staff, and everything else?
Yeah, my philosophy is always to do stuff in the freshest, scratch-made, and healthiest ways possible. Now, this by no means do I pretend to be a healthy. I mean, I'm a barbecue concept, or I'm a higher end bar, but that doesn't mean that we can't do the things that eliminate a lot of the poisons, preservatives, and toxins that are really just kind of messing us up, leading to massive levels of obesity and a lot of the other health epidemics that we see sweeping through.
Right.
So while we're far from perfect, and yes, there are definitely sacrifices you make. Making, an aioli from scratch costs you a lot more in labor than it does to just buy a pre-mixed one.
Sure.
But in my mind, the benefits are there both in the flavor and in the outcomes that you get.
Right.
So it is a labor of love, but you see far more places trending this way. Yeah, we use the tallow over at lightning rounds, and now you see lots of chains kind of announcing this, that they're switching over to it. And so I think there is like a revolution going on in health as America to some degree has bottomed out, honestly.
Right.
Where we're starting to take a harder look at things and figure out, what changes can we make? What habits do we have that can be altered? And I think it's incumbent upon those of us that are, the stewards of culinary, the restaurant owners, and especially the big chains, to really look at what we're doing and find out if there is a way to put people before profits, to put quality food before just something that's going to save us a few pennies here and there, and make sure that, we're acting with integrity in the products and the people that we serve.
Yeah, I love it.
There's something to be said about, and I don't eat out a ton, but when I go and I have, just as an example, I have wings from lightning rounds by comparison to maybe some of our other local establishments that are using the traditional seed oil type fryers and whatnot. And I don't consider myself having what most would call a developed palate.
I don't.
I
eat a lot of things.
I'm not that guy,
Yeah.
But I can tell a marked difference between them. And it's like, okay. All right. It kind of like that light bulb goes off a little bit, like, oh,
I think the example is, like,
need these.
When we've gone with our kids to get something, they can tell there's a different taste, and we talk to them like, well, there's healthier things and how they're preparing it, and they get it. But when they can tell with their palates, I think sometimes where I just eat a lot of things, they're like, that sounds good. Let's go for it.
I'm just a garbage disposal. Feed me whatever's available.
Yeah, exactly. But it makes a difference, and I think when you start teaching them younger, it really connects with them more too, especially with when I have a younger one, but then I also have a teenager. You see the different things they're interested in eating, and sometimes some of the stuff they do eat, you're like, oh, don't eat too much of that, please. But it does. It makes a big difference. It's better to start teaching them young about things like that.
And I think we can help them by making the easiest choice also the right choice. Healthy doesn't mean flavorless. It can be actually the most flavorful option.
It can be, yeah.
So that's why it's big for me to be able to bring this stuff to the community in an approachable way. Not that I'm saying we're the cheapest restaurant in town, but our prices do not reflect the amount of scratch made and love that goes into every item that we prepare, because it's part of my mission is to get people the opportunity to have this experience in Lapeer. It's part of that whole reason I came back, to give them something unique, something that people can be proud of, to want to show the out-of-town guests off to. So yeah, it's just, if we all work together to make the easy choice the right choice, then it's a lot less work at the back end having to force them to eat their Brussels sprouts and carrots.
Isn't that the truth?
It is.
Isn't that the truth? All right. So as we close out the podcast, the last question we've got for you, balancing multiple businesses, and right now you have 3?
Sort of. Yeah, three brick and mortars. Yeah,
three brick and mortars. Okay, so balancing multiple businesses requires adaptability and foresight, which we've talked about. But how do you manage the unique demands of each venture? I mean, I have to imagine, especially watching your social media and seeing how active you are, whether you're doing lives, whether you're doing recorded videos, even your POTA podcast that you have, where you're putting some shorts on TikTok and whatnot. What strategies have you found effective in ensuring the continued growth and the success? And I think we've hit on a lot of those points, but I mean, let's try to coalesce it and bring it all back together.
I mean, it's a couple different things, but mainly it's building systems and structures to ensure that you're getting consistent results every time.
Shout out to McDonald's and their processes.
Let's say you learn something from everybody.
Yep.
But not so rigid that everything comes from corporate in a memo.
Right.
You want people to understand why they're doing stuff. That's the important part that I think McDonald's often misses when you're the frontline employee, making sure people understand why we're doing it this way and the results that we get from it. And then number 2 is people. Look, at the end of the day, everything's about people. It's finding people to invest in. My number 1 employee who's been with me, she joined us our 2nd year, so 10 years ago. Amber started off as a part-time dishwasher. She had been working on the shop of a floor of a factory, and was coming to the restaurant world, and I just saw something in her. And so we gave her opportunities, invested, and watched as she rose in the ranks and eventually became our general manager, helping us survive COVID. And then I went to my ownership, and I'm like, I want her to become an owner.
Right.
And it's because, look, you never know where you're going to find untapped talent, and I don't want to sound derogatory, but a diamond in the rough, or just a diamond that hasn't been polished yet, because so many people don't have those opportunities. Our school system doesn't do the best job of highlighting specific opportunities for every single kid. Some just sometimes feel like, oh, I'm not the smart kid, or I can't excel at this version of the game. But figure out the game that you can excel at. Get them excited about it. Connect them with their efforts, their discipline, and then the rewards that can come from that. And when you foster that environment of them being willing to try things, to be okay with making a mistake, but not be okay with not learning from a mistake, then you've got a culture that can get people to thrive, show ownership, and eventually create a structure that allows me to kind of ascend to more of a CEO, not necessarily working full-time in the businesses, but just working on them and working through my people to get stuff done. And now they feel more buy-in, because it's not just me coming from on high and dictating everything. It's, hey, what choices did you guys make this week? Let's talk, let's analyze those and see how they went.
Right.
I love it.
No, that's amazing.
It is.
And I think, again, the empowerment that you allow your staff goes a long way. I managed a bar and restaurant for 5 years, and one of my deficiencies as a manager was, I wanted it just done a certain way. Please do it my way, and that's how I would manage. And there was a lot of pushback on that at times, and rightfully so. And again, as you age, you become more wise, and you can be very reflective on those things. And it's like, okay, if I were to go back and do things differently, here's what I would change about myself or my management style or this or that. And I think I give you a lot of credit for that, for having the self-awareness of being able to empower your staff and engage with them on their level and be like, yeah, I understand the struggles. All right, let's talk through this. Let's figure out what makes the most sense.
It's like you're investing in them too. Not only are they working for you, but you're investing in finding that person that really wants to step up and be more part of it and help out more. And you mentioned the one that really rose up a lot and plays a big role in what you guys are doing and how successful you are.
Yeah,
at these places.
And even now, I've offered up. I've just held meetings and met with my legal team, because my main goal is to turn my businesses over to my employees in some regards. So I've went to my owners at this point. I've paid back their initial investment. And I told them basically, hey guys, we're going to do a fire sale of your ownership. And I'm going to offer it up to our longest standing employees that want to take some ownership in this.
Wow.
So yeah, we have a few new owners that'll probably be coming on board. They've been employees that have been with me for at least a year. But
that's amazing.
That is really amazing.
But yeah, that's my end goal, is to provide these opportunities to others. And again, I've done everything in the restaurant industry. I've done every single job on every single level. So I have generally complete empathy for everybody who works for me, because I've been there before and I've worked for shitty bosses, and not that some don't think I am occasionally, but you know, I can reflect and always see where they're coming from, and I want to present them with the things that I always thought would have motivated me more, or that would have given me more incentive to become something great. And I don't have the disillusion that everybody's going to become an owner for me, or everybody's going to work up and become my manager. But I don't care. I want them to become the best version of themselves and go out in the world in whatever field they can add the most value, and just be that and create and have a great life. If I help them on that journey, then
you never know.
Pat on Pat's back.
You never know when you're going to have that one employee that you're going to change their life and really affect them later on, and maybe they'll start their own restaurant or business or something. And I think that part, I love that storyline of willing to give opportunities, and that might change other things down and change downtown Lapeer even more. Those are the
coolest moments when former employees will reach out, and even one just did recently. She didn't even work for me when I owned my businesses, just when I was a manager at a BD's Mongolian Barbecue back in the day. And she was just like, you know, you were the first one to ever see something in me, and you made me an entry-level supervisor. And she's like, just know that I follow you all the time. I'm just trying to bring the culture that you taught me to my new place, even now, 17 years later. And it's just like,
amazing.
Yes.
You go, girl. I love that.
Love it.
So let me ask this, as we near the conclusion of the podcast today, where did you get this from another restaurant, when people are moving on to another job, another career out of the area, where they're getting whipped cream splashed all over them, face, hair, what have you? You know, where did that come from? What was the genesis of that idea?
Yeah, that I did steal that from BD's Mongolian Barbecue, which was my favorite restaurant back when we were 16 or 17. Used to drive down to Royal Oak to go wait in line an hour to have this experience. And for those of you who haven't went, it's create your own stir fry. So it's not like any of the ingredients or anything crazy. They're just like, you know, here's some chicken, here's some beef, here's some vegetables. But they taught me about that the world of restaurants isn't just selling food. It's crafting an experience. It's bringing people together. It's breaking bread. And sometimes it's putting on a show too. And so it's really exciting to be able to try to bring those elements into my businesses right now, even if I'm not, you know, flipping swords and doing the crazy show in front of them, but instilling in my people that, hey, we're here to give people something even more than just food. We're here to give them a piece of ourselves. We're here to connect with them, treat them like humans, and remember the whole reason that we're on this planet is just shared humanity. You know, we're in a big rock floating in the sky, traveling around at a crazy speed. Life is hard, man. Up until 200 years ago, just surviving past the age of as old as we are, it was a roll of the dice at best. And so sometimes we can lose sight of that and remember that the most important thing is we're all in this together. We're all just human. And the more that we help each other out, lift each other up, support each other, the easier this thing gets, the more fun this thing gets, and the realization that this is paradise right here.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's absolutely amazing.
What an amazing focus on your life.
I think this has been a very inspiring podcast. And I appreciate the perspectives that you have, that you bring not only to the community, to your staff, but, you know, just to share with the rest of us. I think it's amazing, and we applaud you for that.
That's awesome. And I will whip cream you in the face any day, John, to make sure that you feel the love. Because at the end of the day, we only pie the ones that we love.
There you go.
To let them know that they will be missed. And
when
to give
you do that, can you make sure that social media involved with that?
We do our best. It's hard to balance surprising somebody with a whipped cream pie as well as getting a great angle on the shot.
We do our best. I can understand that for sure. Well, Pat, thank you so much for taking the time today out of your busy schedule. You know, we've got, let's see, an hour until tip off for the MSU game. It's going to be a fun one. If people wanted to come visit you, why don't you give us the address and location for the 3 businesses, and let's make sure people are well aware of where to find you, the physical locations, because we know you're all over social media as well.
Well, we got downtown Lapeer. That's where we got Woodchips BBQ with our recently renovated patio, looking great for the summer. We've got Kookies and Cream right across the street there. But I encourage everybody just to come down and explore all of downtown Lapeer. We got a lot of great shops, and I want downtown Lapeer to be the destination. Then you discover my places. If you just want to come directly to my places, that's okay, but let's make downtown Lapeer awesome. And then Lightning Rounds is just on the outskirts of town, right off the Lake Nipissing exit of 69, so like 10 minutes from here in downtown Davison, 266 Lake Nipissing. That's Lightning Rounds, the Thunderdome, the backyard there. And then, yeah, if you want to follow on social, I'm most active on something right now called Can We Talk? One of my other main goals is to facilitate honest conversation, civil discourse, being able to disagree and still be able to engage each other in positive ways.
Along. Yes, I love
so if you're interested in stuff like that, that's Can We Talk? And I'm on Twitter and TikTok and Facebook and
all the things.
Most of the things.
Everything.
I know Instagram I never got into. I know I should, but
I only have it because it's inside the Meta universe, so that's the only reason.
It's
why.
not people watching one.
But thank you to you guys too. What you're doing here in Davison is really inspiring. Loving to see the positive changes here. Loving to get more involved, and I just think both of you guys are great pillars of this community. And even as your neighbors down there, I'm always seeing what you're doing, and you guys are doing a great job of representing everything that you're about.
Well, we appreciate that.
We love it. We love it here.
Well, and I think the one thing that all three of us have in common is how much we love our community.
We do.
And if your local community is thriving, there's all sorts of stuff you can worry about and be concerned about on a national level. There's lots of things that we can be involved in, or we can, quote unquote, bitch and moan about. But at the end of the day, if you hyper focus on your local community, that's where you're going to see the most change, and you're going to be able to really institute things from a grassroots level.
That's right. Your city commission has a bigger effect on your life than the president does.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. Well, Pat, thank you for the time today, my friend. I am Johnny B. Good with the Community Collective Podcast, joined by my man,
Travis Howell.
Always a pleasure, my friend. We will see you on the next podcast. And I think that's it. Let's go watch some basketball.
Oh,
right, let's do it. Take care, Pat.
Thanks, Patrick.
See you, Trav.
Johnny.